Yo, I am, so, this is Murder Drone's first encounter. This is a brand new game that came out, like 7 hours ago, and I've been waiting months to play it. So you better believe the second I had the opportunity, I proceeded to actively change it. That's not what I meant. My brain's failing. Give me a second. Hold on. I proceeded to actively play it. The absolute second. I saw the message of it coming out and instantly downloaded it. I'm playing this game so fast that that it's not even a category yet. So it does want to change for some reason. Give me a bit. So slight problem. I don't think I can update the category because the game isn't in the categories yet. You know, a slight problem. So, I don't know how to fix that. Yeah, that's the only problem. Okay, there, that should work. I'll just put, like, games and stuff because I can't do anything else with it. Okay, now with that out of the way, yay, now I can actually start playing this game. Let's see, it's made by a small team of only 3 people. Unfortunately, even though it's very difficult and time consuming, so this version does not have all the necessary images. However, we decided to release the game in this state to share it with you as soon as possible. We hope you will still enjoy playing it. There is a very high chance I will. Alright, let's see. Okay. So the first paragraph is literally just the first paragraph of Murder Drones. So I'm not reading that because if you watch Murder Drones, you already know that. Okay. You finish your introduction and glance up from your notes. In front of you is a classroom full of all your peers. They look bored, some staring at their phones, others folding paper airplanes. Quickly, you look back down, ready to continue your presentation. We haven't heard from... Okay, this is new, thankfully. We haven't heard from the human since the disaster. Our parent company hasn't sent a single message, but I'm sure they're trying. We just have no way to receive them. That's why I'm building an antenna to transmit and receive interstellar signals. Okay. You look up again. The class seems entirely uninterested, barely reacting to the climax of your speech. You need to do something. Yeah, I'm just gonna finish this up quickly. I gotta make a fool of myself. A panic thought races through your mind. What was I even thinking when I wrote this stupid presentation? You frantically flip through a few pages in your hands, blinking desperation. This point can be skipped, and that too isn't worth mentioning. I can't talk. Oh. Well, guess I ended up drawing a solver. Anyways, doesn't matter. You probably just got bored already, and that's why I chose building an antenna as my project to contact people. The end. You say anxiously, exhaling and glancing up again, hoping to see at least some relief on your classmates' faces now that your presentation is over. The room is filled with a deafening silence, occasionally interrupted by the rustling of paper. The ending left even less of an impression than the beginning. Thank you, Artyom, for such a... The teacher's voice breaks the silence. Concise presentation. Is that all? Yes. You nod to the teacher, confirming the end of your presentation. Great, that's the end of the lesson. You're all free to go. The room immediately fills with noises of I can't talk today. The noise of voices, laughter, and the screech of chairs being pushed back. You slowly organize your notes, waiting for your classmates to leave the classroom. Most of them pay no attention to you, immersed in their conversations or glued to their phones. Finally, the room grows quiet. Even the teacher's left, giving you a sympathetic glance on his way out. You walk over to your desk and start carefully packing your papers into your backpack. I do not know how to pronounce this man's name. So from now on, I'm just gonna call him Art. Art, can we talk? You hear a girl's voice behind you. Turn around. Hello. You flinch slightly in surprise and quickly turn around. Standing in the doorway is Katie, your classmate. Classmate? Yes, classmate. Classmate. She has pink eyes and the same pink braided hair, topped with a large white bow. As always, Katie is wearing her light green hoodie with the words Becca written on the chest. Katie looks at you with sympathy. It's clear that she didn't like the class's reaction to your presentation either. Nice presentation. I liked it. It was so... Katie pauses for a second, searching for the right word. Concise. Ah, yes. Rejecting compliments. I'm accepting it. Thank you. You look up at her. I'm glad that at least someone liked it. I guess I should have expected that kind of reaction. I don't know what I was thinking. You avert your gaze and stare at the floor. Your relationship with most of your classmates has always been strained. No, they didn't hate you, but you were just too different. Interested in different things, talking about different concepts. That doesn't even say concepts, that's just topics. Because of this, you earned a reputation as an oddball. Katie was the only exception. Will you tell me more about your antenna? Katie sits on the desk in front of you. Is it the same project you mentioned a couple weeks ago? Judging by the fact that I still have, like, literally no one watching, I'm not gonna do the last one. I'm gonna give a brief overview. You feel a mix of excitement and awkwardness. You love talking about things you're passionate about, but you learned long ago that your speeches often don't interest others. Well, you scratch the back of your head awkwardly. I want to build and have already started building an antenna to communicate with humans. I have some ideas about it, and I've sketched a few drafts. I hope I can get it working. That's it. You look at Katie with a pounding heart, waiting for her reaction. To your great relief, she seems intrigued. I can only wish you good luck. Katie gives you an appraising look, as if expecting you to continue. Why are you so interested in this antenna, you ask cautiously. You're genuinely curious. You've never noticed Katie being into radio electronics before. Not that you've particularly asked her about it, but surely you would have noticed. Or maybe not. Katie averts her eyes, thinking about her answer. An awkward silence fills the air, lingering long enough that you begin to wonder how it's possible to take this long to come up with an answer to what seemed like a simple question. Finally, she looks up at you. Just because, Katie shrugs. My parents want me to get a respectable profession to be able to move to a more prosperous colony. So I figured I'd talk to you. You sense there's something unsaid in her words, but you decide to keep that observation to yourself. It feels weird to ask that this late in the conversation, so I'm just gonna... It was nice talking to you, but I have to go, you say hesitantly. I have other things to do. And that was true. Today you had planned a trip outside to get the missing parts for your antenna. This is either going to go really well or really poorly. Of course, I won't keep you waiting, Art. It was nice chatting with you too. Katie quickly reassures you, noticing your awkwardness. She smiles at you and heads towards the door. You watch her leave, wondering if you say something else to bid her farewell. For a moment, she pauses in the doorway and waves at you. You wave back. Her silhouette disappears beyond the door. You're left alone in the room. Oh, they got the same cat hang in there poster. It doesn't matter where you are or when you are, you're always going to see at least one of those posters somewhere. Alright, so now we head home. This is going to be a long walk, isn't it? You walk slowly through the colony's corridors, heading towards your home. From time to time, other drones pass by, but most of them pay no attention to you. A few do greet you, and you automatically respond with a nod and a quick greeting. But your mind is elsewhere. At first, you were thinking about the upcoming trip outside that you had planned for today, but soon your thoughts shifted to Katie. Why did she approach you after class? Yes, you're friends. And she's always been friendly towards you, but you've never seen her act like that before. What could it mean? Jeez, this is gonna be a long walk. You walk past the wide doors leading to a huge empty room with high ceilings. This used to be a workshop of the metal processing plant. From the stories of the older ones, you know that worker drones once worked here alongside humans, melting and processing metal to prepare it for shipment off the planet. Now only drones are left. However, the planet continues its work. The connection with the company was lost, but the need for metal, now for the newly formed drone civilization, hasn't gone away. Some of the equipment survived, and the local workers managed to restart one of the 3 workshops. The broken equipment was thrown away without a second thought. Okay, my only question, Are the murder drones in... Have the murder drones been sent to the planet yet? The quiet hum and clanging sounds coming from somewhere in the distance confirm this. The workshop is working, producing metal. Your parents, as well as Katie's parents, are probably somewhere there right now. You sure I can continue walking past the doors, heading home. Okay. Now we're into the areas with no images. This game is not completed yet, so they don't exactly have full images if you buy the message at the start. You pass through a few more corridors and finally find yourself standing in front of your home store. With a familiar motion, you enter the passcode, and the door opens with a soft hiss. You step inside, the lights automatically turn on, and the door quietly shuts behind you. You glance around. The kitchen, the living room, the closed doors to your bedroom, and your parents' bedroom. Everything is in its place. Nothing has been touched. The house is empty, but you're not the least bit surprised. Your parents are probably working late again. Then again, that's actually for the best. No one will interfere with your plans. So the weird thing still is that we somehow drew a solver without knowing what a solver is. Probably. In this case, it's probably actually nothing. Hopefully. You enter your room and carelessly throw your backpack with notes onto the bed. You quickly glance around. The bed is made, books are on the shelf, scattered electronics and blueprints are on the desk. Everything seems in place, but something feels different. After a brief look, you notice a new detail. There's a note lying on the edge of your desk, written by your parents. The small, neat handwriting is unmistakable. You roll your eyes. How many times have you asked them to not come into your room without permission? But it always ends the same. They apologize only to do it again. Annoying. You glance at the closed drawer where the blueprints for your antenna are stored. It's time to prepare for your excursion outside. Or can you delay it a bit longer? Yeah, let's read the note. With a heavy sigh, you approach the note and pick it up. Art will be working late today and will come home late. Please don't stay out on the surface too long like last time. Love, Mom and Dad. You crumple the note and toss it into the trash can under the deck. It's already half full of similar pieces of paper, all written in neat, small handwriting. Okay. Let's see. So we have a bookshelf. Pausing in front of your bookshelf, you survey your collection. Logically, there aren't many books there, since most information is stored digitally. Archives of the past, like these paper books, were incredibly difficult for you to acquire. Nevertheless, despite all the hardships, you managed to gather around a dozen books on mechanics and electronics. Even if someone asked you why you needed them, you wouldn't have a clear answer. Though for you, reading these books was more of a way to unwind and relax than to learn something new. Fantasies about the previous owners of these books would fill your mind whenever you opened them. Are they passionate about electronics like you are? Light rustling of the pages brought you back to a time before the catastrophe, an era you could never witness yourself. Lingering in those moments gave you a sense of peace, even if just briefly. Anyways, now we get the blueprints. You open the desk drawer and take out all your blueprints and notes. Getting some of them was no easy task. You had to restore one of the JC Jensen's servers to access their archives. Cool. Where should I start? You quietly muttered to yourself. You've long noticed that you tend to talk to yourself when trying to focus, or conversely, distract yourself. Of course, you try to do this only when you're alone, so your classmates don't have extra reasons to joke about your oddities. In front of you are 3 neat stacks of papers, each labeled in your large handwriting. Emitter, receiver, antenna. I feel like receiver would be one of the most important, so we should probably start with that. You spread out the papers on the receiver in front of you. The receiver is the heart of the antenna, the main component responsible for detecting and processing incoming signals. Without a working receiver, your entire project will remain just a heap of useless metal. Communications Hub Block 1. You read the printed archive data, the main communication node of the former Copper 9 industrial complex. This place should be packed with electronics and components. You can only hope that something there is still operational. You slide the map of the industrial complex closer and spot the place you need. Got it. Now we do the antenna. You pull out the smallest stack of papers dedicated to the antenna. In front of you lies a photograph of an old tower that you took with your smartphone. You stumbled upon it during one of your previous trips and noticed that several satellite dishes are still intact at its top. These dishes are essential for completing the construction of your antenna. It looks like you'll have to climb up there. No way around it. You mutter to yourself with a hint of regret. Let's hope I'm good at climbing in here. Alright, now we examine the emitter. You pull the papers about the emitter closer and start flipping through them. Your antenna needs to not only receive signals, but also send them. That's what the emitter will be responsible for. You smile dreamily, imagining yourself as the first worker drone to send a message to humans since the destructor... I'm sorry, it's 9 in the morning for me. I can't talk for some reason. Since the destruction of Copper 9. You shake your head, pushing away the distracting thoughts, and lower your eyes back to the notes. Communications Hub, Block 2, reads one of the notes. If the archive data isn't lying, this part of the complex was responsible for sending reports to the metropolis. If there's any place to find working parts for the emitter, it's there. You glance at the old map of the industrial complex, trying to memorize where the entrance to the place you needed is located. Alright, finish examining. You put the papers aside and take one more look at all your notes. Alright, communication hub, block 1. Receiver, block 2. Emitter, the old tower, antenna parts. You slowly recite the key points of your plan to memorize them better. Carefully folding the papers, you place them back into the desk drawer. Then you lean back in your chair with a heavy sigh. Worry and anxiety fill your mind. The company's buildings are considered dangerous places. Some were built so poorly that after the catastrophe, they're now in critical condition. Others, on the contrary, were constructed so well that some of them still have emergency power and defense systems running. Let's hope nothing goes wrong. A lot of stuff is about to go wrong. I'm calling it right now. A bunch of stuff's about to go wrong. A fleeting thought crosses your mind. Jumping up, you quickly leave the house, not giving your doubts a chance to stop you. Exit of the colony. Okay, we have our first image in a while. You walk through the corridor to the colony, slowing down before each turn. Before rounding a corner, you cautiously peek around to make sure there's no one there. In the back of your mind, you know you have every right to be here, and that your behavior looks suspicious. But the anxiety and excitement for the upcoming excursion keep you from thinking rationally. After navigating a few corridors, you find yourself back at the empty workshop you passed earlier. After confirming no one is around, you quickly dash to the other side. The factory gates leading outside are just around the next corner. Gate. Please let there be no murder drones. Or disassembly drones. You turn the final corner, and large double doors come into view. This used to be the main entrance to the metal processing plant. Faint grooves are visible on the concrete floor, left by countless machines that once drove in and out. It's a little colder here than in the rest of the colony. Outside, a snowstorm is raging, but that's typical weather for Copper 9. The doors are covered with a thin layer of ice, and if you listen closely, you can hear the howling of the wind beyond them. You approach the doors and, with some effort, pull on one of the panels. It creaks open loudly, and a gust of wind and snow immediately hit your face. Alright, now we're outside. Now! We just hope that there are no murder drones so we don't die. You walk across the snow-covered surface of the planet, surrounded by the dark, crumbling skyscrapers. This place used to be a settlement, once inhabited by humans. Now all that remains of their civilization are ruins, and of them, skeletons stripped bare by the wind. The wind howls in your ears. An occasional gusts of snow make it hard to see ahead. You shield your visor with your hand, trying to block out the snowstorm. Warning, low temperature detected. Approaching critical levels. Current ambient temperature, negative 101 degrees Fahrenheit. It is cold here, jeez. A notification pops up at the edge of your interface. Worker drones were built to endure harsh conditions, but even their capabilities have limits. You lift your hand to your face, slowly clenching and unclenching your fingers. Their servos emit an unpleasant, louder than usual creak. Annoying, but it doesn't affect functionality. Dang, settings reset again. You exclaim for frustration, sighing as you open your OS settings. You've been lucky enough to have a rather glitchy OS. Thanks to your parents for that. What were they thinking? Merging code from two different versions? And in different languages, no less. Russian and English. That's a great combination. Now, half of your internal interface is written in one language and the other half in another. Metric and imperial units keep switching back and forth. On top of that, you're occasionally woken up in the middle of the night by errors caused by numerical format conflicts. At least you speak the same language as the other drones. Much better. You finish tweaking your OS and instinctively shake your hands. Now we're proud, negative 73.9 Celsius. I don't think that's any better. Continue your journey. Alright, you step out into an intersection. A miraculously surviving traffic light sways in the wind, occasionally emitting an unpleasant creak. You glance around. To your left, you can see an old tower. Its satellite dishes glinting invitingly at the top. To your right stands the massive building of the communication hub. If you continue straight down the road, you'll reach Block 1. And if you veer slightly to the left, you'll find yourself at Block 2. You decide which place to visit first. Receiver was in Block 1, correct? Right? Where's my brain not working? Okay, good. You turn right and continue down the road. The freshly fallen snow crunches softly under your feet. You look around. There are no tracks here except for your own. This part of the settlement holds no interest for other drones. Soon the massive building of the communications hub looms over you, blocking the light from the satellite. Right in front of you are gates with peeling paint. You can barely see the faded inscription. Come, Ike, Uns, HB, CK1. You look at the darkness beyond the gates with hesitation. It's not too late to turn back and start somewhere else. No, we're going in. Well, pass through the gate and cross a small parking lot. Rusty car frames, half buried in snow, remain frozen in their parking spots, exactly where the catastrophe left. Opening the building's door, you step inside. Before you lies an office lobby. An office lobby, a reception desk, uncomfortable waiting benches, and a large J.C. Jensen sign on the wall, and a human skeleton. You notice that somehow the power is still on in here. Several dim lights illuminate the room from its corners. Backup power from a nuclear source, you wonder, raising an eyebrow? At the far end of the room, there's a doorway and emitting a faint hum. Your attention is also drawn to a small black and white object resting on a nearby table. I kinda want to do the object, so I'm gonna do that. You approach the table to take a closer look at the strange object. Upon inspection, it turns out to be well, that'll be helpful for the towers. It turns out to be a grappling hook. Picking it up, you carefully examine it to find from all sides. A sleek black and white plastic body, a simple mechanism for launching the hook, and a built-in automatic winch. On one side, the company logo J.C. Jensen is prominently displayed, accompanied by the slogan beneath it: "Our grappling hook will fail you only once." You gotta be kidding me. press the small button on the device and hold your breath, waiting. After a moment, the device emits a short beep, and a red LED light turns on. Working? No way, you exclaim in surprise. This will definitely come in handy. After turning it off, you stash the device among your belongings. Okay, before you blah 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 blah. Yeah, we already all read all that. Okay, looking out the door. Look out the doorway. Ooh, nice. Carefully peek through the door frame to identify the source of the noise and freeze, stunned by what you sees. Yes, stunned by what you sees. Stunned by what you see. Your eyes widen in surprise. Before you is a long, narrow corridor with a single door at the opposite end. The entire corridor is filled with motion sensors, security cameras, and turrets hanging from the ceiling. Okay, don't walk through there. You anxiously follow one with your gaze. Two black barrel tubes slowly rotate left and right, emitting that very hum. What kind of place is this? You whisper quietly. This is just a communications center, not the residence of some evil. How long has this thing been trying to reconnect? Okay, anyways. Anyways. So, where was I? What kind of place is this? You whisper quietly. This is just a communications center, not the resident of some evil. You swallow nervously, knowing the company anything is possible. You can only hope this is just an excessive precaution, not a truly secret entrance to some hidden lab with infected drones inside. You take another look around the room and notice a faint glow coming from behind the reception desk. It looks like the glow of a computer screen. Of course, there must be some kind of control panel there. You exclaim, slapping your forehead as the realization hits you. Look behind the desk. You step behind the reception desk and, with relief, notice a working computer screen. Skirting around the skeleton, you move closer to read what's displayed. In front of you is a slightly curved LED screen, covered in a thin layer of dust. Most of the screen is occupied by the black background of a terminal, and you can see your own reflection in it. On the screen, a message is displayed in large yellow letters. Connection lost. Security system link unavailable. Please enter the command callback ping to reconnect. Below, a blinking cursor in the input line seems to invite you to type something.
Callback ping.
Thanks for the jump scare. Oh, that's nice. You enter the required command and numerous messages about reconnecting to the security system appear on the screen. After a few seconds, the process completes, and the terminal displays the following message. Communication Center Block 1. Security system active. Power mode emergency. Connection to central office, no connection. To disable the security system, activate the functions in the order specified in the instructions. In case of an input error, reset the system to its default settings and try again. You quickly glance around the reception desk and the space underneath it. Unfortunately, you don't find anything resembling an instruction manual. Alright, let's experiment, you say with frustration. Proceed to the security system's functions. Oh no. The screen displays a list of available security system control functions. Please use the functions listed below in the correct order. this is gonna take a while, isn't it? Before you notice the status of 6. Below, you notice the status of the 6 security levels in the corridor you need. Underneath that, there's a text input field for entering the commands. 5, 4, 6, 2. Oh, it's one of these. Oh. I did the exact opposite of what I needed. Do that. Okay. No, 4. No. Click that one. Click 5. 6. I did it! Wow, that didn't take... Okay, well, at least I'm recording this so that you people can still see what happened. We just have to have crappy internet, don't we? Now I just let it... Oh, there it goes. Okay. Now that that's done, because that didn't take near as long as I thought it would. Step away from the terminal. Finally, all the security levels are disabled. You step away from the monitor and brush off your hands, covered in dust from the keyboard. Who on earth came up with such a ridiculous security system? You ask loudly into the emptiness, letting out your frustration. You approach the door frame and peek into the corridor. The lasers have turned off and the cameras and turrets have powered down and stopped working. You slowly step inside and begin walking down the corridor. After a few seconds, you pass under one of the turrets. Its barrel is so close you can touch it if you want to. Just hope it doesn't suddenly turn back on. A panic thought flashes through your mind. You shake your head, pushing the thought away, and quicken your pace. Another 10 seconds and you're already at the opposite end of the corridor. You step into the dark room, dimly lit by emergency lights and the glow of numerous monitors mounted along the walls of computers. Most of the screens display the message, "No signal," in large letters, but that doesn't concern you. The most important thing is that all this equipment is still running. Here you're sure to find the parts you need and reassemble everything to your liking. You take a step forward and suddenly trip over something hard. Looking down, you notice a skeleton dressed in a tattered uniform of a JC Jensen employee. Poor soul, you think briefly. As you prepare to step over the remains, your attention is suddenly drawn to a scrap of paper clutched in his hand. Examine the paper, please. I would like to know. You bend down and carefully examine the scrap paper. The skeleton's fingers are tightly gripping it, preventing you from seeing what's inside. You notice, however, that some images printed on the inner side. Gently using 2 fingers, you grasp the edge of the paper and slowly begin to pull it free. The paper feels strange to the touch, very smooth, almost synthetic. Carefully, you wiggle it back and forth, gradually loosening it from the skeleton's rigid grip. After a few seconds, the paper slips out of the bony fingers, and you unfold it. It turns out to be a map of Block 2. We're on Block 1. All these rooms look like a real maze, you note to yourself in surprise. Good thing I found this map. You carefully fold the paper and tuck it into your pocket. Alright, let's get the receiver parts. You glance at the computers in the room, a spark of excitement in your eyes. So much working electronics, so many parts. This place is a treasure trove for someone like you. You pull a screwdriver from your pocket and toss it into the air a few times. Who should I start with? You muse dreamily, scanning the nearest computers. The next 20 minutes are spent disconnecting and dismantling the equipment. By the time you're done, you're covered in dust, and a few fresh scratches adorn your fingers from the sharp edges of the cases. But it's all worth it. The necessary parts are now in your hands. And we have 3 receiver parts. Alright, with a confident stride, you cross the corridor and then back to the lobby of Block 1. Moments later, you step outside into the howling wind, swirling snow and icy gusts. Looking carefully, Looking thoughtfully at the sky, you say aloud, "Well, that wasn't so bad. The security systems made me rack my brain, but at least I didn't have to crawl between those lasers and dodge bullets. I can't even imagine what I'd do if it had come to that." You double check that all the parts you've collected are still with you, and you head back towards the crossroads. Okay. So apparently going to block 1 was probably like the best option I could have done, because now I have a map for block 2 and a way to get up the old tower. You step out into an intersection. A miraculously surviving traffic light sways in the wind, occasionally emitting an unpleasant creak. You glance around. To your left, you see an old tower, so it's just all this. It's just this again. Okay, let's go to block 2. You turn right toward the communication hub building, but you almost immediately step off the road. You're ready for block 2, the entrance to which is just left of the main gate. Unfortunately, the pass is blocked off by debris from a collapsing building, and you have to work hard to clear a way through. Eventually, your efforts pay off. Right in front of you are the doors to block 2. Massive, like bunker doors, they are tightly sealed. Next to them, in the satellite's light, a control panel flickers invitingly. Is it time to start hacking, or should you turn back and try something? We start hacking. We start hacking. You approach the door control panel and begin studying it carefully. A quick inspection leads to a few conclusions. On the one hand, the panel is still functional, which means the door can be opened. On the other hand, you'll have to hack the security system. But that doesn't surprise you. You found this out a long time ago while studying the Jason Jensen archives. With a heavy sigh, you take out your phone. It's time to test your hacking skills. You unlock the screen and start searching for the app you wrote a few days ago specifically for this purpose. Finally, you find the black logo with an abstract figure made of white lines. Beneath it, the name reads CTOS. You launch the program and hold your phone up to the control panel screen. The message "Hacking in Progress" appears on your phone. Suddenly, the panel's screen lights up, and the words "Authorization Successful, Authorized Individual, Technician A. Pierce" flash on it. With a loud hiss, the door begins to open. A satisfied smile spreads across your face. Bypassing the security was a piece of cake. You're about to step inside when a piercing siren suddenly blares. You jump in surprise and quickly glance at the control panel. Its screen is glowing red, displaying the message "Hacking attempt detected. Block conversation protocol initiated. All personnel are advised to evacuate the block tab." Great. In a panic, you press your phone against the panel again, but it no longer responds. It seems the system has gone into full lockdown mode. Dang it. You curse under your breath and angrily kick the wall. Suddenly, the siren lets out the sharp screech and falls silent. At least you won't have to listen to that anymore. Now you have no choice but to take the risk and head inside. You need those parts too badly. Let's just hope you can find them and get out of there before the doors shut and trap you in here forever. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. You carefully step inside. A small room illuminated by emergency lights opens it up before you. With several doorways leading in different directions, on one of the walls, a large label reads A3. Most likely that's the number of this room. Okay, nope. Save the game. New save. Good save. Okay, make sure this works. Okay, cool. Better not get lost. You mutter to yourself with concern. You briefly open your OS settings and display compass on your visor. Surprisingly, Copper 9 retained its magnetic field after the core explosion, though the pulse swapped places. You discovered this entirely by accident. discrepancies on old JC Jensen maps. Your attention is also drawn to a cork board on one of the walls. Most of the papers that had been pinned to it are scattered on the floor, though a few sheets still cling to their places. So I'm in A3. I don't know why. I think it's going to be in either E1 or E5. But I'm going to check E5 first. So we go east. Okay. Get another room and notice what's found on the wall. A4. Along the walls, computers and controls panels are set up. Stand them, find nothing useful. All the electronics were destroyed by the electromagnetic pulse of the catastrophe, and we go north. Okay, so now let's just keep going. We go east, and then we go north a bunch. North, north, north. We're in E5. Along in front of you is functional control panels, a true rarity in these conditions. Somehow it managed to survive the plane's core explosion, unlike its numerous siblings. The perfect donor for the parts you need to assemble the emitter. I got it right by gut instinct. Get the parts. Emitter parts. Uh-oh. I only have one part. Dang it. You pull a small screwdriver out of your pocket and start working on the screws, holding the control panel cover in place. Rusted over time, they're tightly stuck, and you have to put in considerable effort to get them to turn. I should have brought some WD-40. You mutter underneath your breath, moving on to the next screw. At last, the job is done, and you carefully remove the cover, setting it aside. Inside, you see a chaotic tangle of wires and old circuit boards, all covered in a thick layer of dust. You flip the power switch on the panel's power block to cut the power, and carefully begin disconnecting wires and unscrewing the boards. It takes you a few more minutes of fiddling with the dusty innards of the machine, but the results is worth it. At last, the parts you've been searching for are in your hands. You assess the number of components you've collected. It's clearly not enough to assemble the antenna. Okay, so we're in 5. So now we go over to E1. So boom, west, 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 west. We're in D1, north. Let's go. Okay, after this, I think we go to E4. So this is all the same stuff. Also all the same stuff. So, then we go east, north, east, east. Floppy disk. Okay, suddenly your eyes catch on a small, flat, black object lying on one of the panels. Stupid, crappy internet. Okay, so this is interesting and not stressful at all. I'm getting this by pure luck. Okay. Anyways. You step closer to examine it. Before you is a small plastic floppy disk with its labeled side facing down. A floppy disk? This technology has been obsolete for over 1,000 years. How could it end up here? The thought flashes through your mind in surprise. Ah. You pick up the dust-covered floppy disk and flip it over. On the back, written in marker, are the words access key. Oh, that's good. We're probably going to need that. Underneath the disk lies a small piece of paper, folded into quarters. You pick it up and unfold it. I know why our maps keep disappearing. Those jerks from the Black Ones steal it every time just to mess with us. Well, guess what? I swiped their access key. Let's see how funny they find it tomorrow morning. An access key for block 1. Come on! I still think going to block 1 was better, because now I have a map. An access key for block 1, you mutter irritably, turning the disc over in your hands. Where was this when I actually needed it? Anyways. Okay. We go to C2, I think. I'm on D2, so I need to go east twice, south and west, Okay. Your attention is drawn to a human skeleton in the far corner of the room. It is dressed in a J.C. Jensen employee uniform with climbing gear worn over it. That's good to have. We have 10 seconds left. Great. You approach the skeleton and examine it carefully. Before you lies one of the many unfortunate employees of the company who perished after the planet's core explosion. A small badge on their chest reads Industrial Climber S. Herb. This gear will come in handy when I climb the tower. Okay, now we got climbing gear. We still need one more emitter part, but I don't know where it could be, so I'm just gonna leave, because I have 10 seconds left. Oh, thank goodness. Let's go, I'm glad I did that. Now I need to get out. Leave. I had 2 seconds left. You check the emitter parts you managed to retrieve from this cursed labyrinth one more time. Yes, this will definitely be enough, you say to yourself with satisfaction, lifting your head proudly as you step outside. A sharp gust of icy wind hits your face, but you pay it no attention. The feeling of accomplishment fills you completely. You take a few steps forward, enjoying the satisfying crunch of snow underfoot. You turn around and watch the door to block 2 expectantly. After a moment, it slams shut with a loud thud, sealing the place forever. Oh. Okay, so I found a few extra things. I am glad I found the climbing gear and grappling hook. The floppy disk would have been useful earlier, but oh well. Okay, old tower. You turn left and quickly head towards the old tower, miraculously still standing after the disaster. It looms over the ruins of the settlement, casting an impossibly long shadow. As you reach its base, you notice with displeasure that the entire structure sways noticeably in the wind, producing a loud creak. Climbing up will not only be difficult but dangerous, but there's nowhere else to get the satellite dishes. You evaluate the lower section of the tower first. Is it time to start climbing? Yes. Shouldn't there be a ladder to climb up there? The thought suddenly flashes through your mind. Okay, I can't do that. You quickly look around but see nothing resembling a ladder. Raising your eyes a bit higher, you spot its first steps, starting roughly 5 meters above the ground. Then the ladder abruptly breaks off, only to continue further up after another gap. How did they even maintain all the electronics up there? You mutter to yourself in confusion, moving closer to the tower. On the ground, you find the answer. Rusty fragments of the ladder, long frozen into the ice, lie directly beneath where it should have been. You let out a heavy sigh. Suddenly, a loud screeching sound comes from above, and you snap your head up, searching for the source of the noise. With wide eyes, you watch as a small section of the tower, bearing a couple of antennas, breaks off from the main structure. You follow its descent until it ends with a dull thud as it hits the ground. I need to hurry before this whole tower collapses. The panic thought races through your mind. You're about to grab the tower's longest rung when something catches your attention. Your attention is drawn to the metallic glint amidst the snow and ice. Stepping closer, you kneel and start clearing the snow with your hands. After a few seconds, you uncover a neat stack of metal rods, perfectly straight and shiny, without the slightest trace of rust. You tap one of them with your finger and think, nickel plating? No, that doesn't seem right. Titanium is some kind of titanium alloy. What are these doing here? Puzzled, you glance around and suddenly notice something resembling a welding machine. It seems the tower was supposed to be reinforced before the disaster struck, but the work was never completed. Unfortunately, the welding machine is completely out of order, so you leave everything on the ground. Without functional equipment, it's of no use to you. I so badly want to use the grappling hook, but I also don't because I feel like it's gonna break. You are above the ground, tightly gripping the icy rungs of the tower. Gusts of freezing wind force you to press even closer against the cold metal. The entire structure creaks and sways noticeably beneath your feet. The longer you stay here, the higher the risk of it collapsing. Your servos emit a disturbing screech with every movement. After all, worker drones aren't designed for working at heights. You try not to think about what will happen if you finger suddenly let go. The next suitable resting spot is 2 meters away. The next section of the tower looks challenging to climb. Parts of the metal are coated in ice, and the gaps between the rungs are fairly large. Okay. Tower. I hope there's not another tower in this. Okay. I'm going to use the grappling hook. You detach the J.C. Jensen grappling hook from your belt, take aim and fire it upward. With a loud whir, the witch unwinds, and a moment later, you hear a sharp clang as the hook latches securely onto a beam. You tug the rope a few times to ensure it's holding firm. Satisfied with the connection, you press the button on the device, and the witch pulls you upward at high speed. Within seconds, the next section of the tower is behind you. You unhook the grappling device and prepare to stow it away, only for it to emit a pitiful beep and shut down. You press the button several times, but nothing happens. So much for the well-made, quality-assured durability of J.C. Jensen products, you exclaim irritably, flinging the useless grappling hook away with a forceful throw. Okay, well, that got us 2 meters up, but it didn't damage the tower at all, it seems. You are above the ground, tightly gripping the icy rungs of the tower. Gusts of freezing wind force you to press even closer against the... Okay. There's that again. Let's see. 1 meter away from the next spot. Okay. Climb with a medium speed. Because that seems like the best idea. We don't want to climb too fast, but we also don't want to climb too slow. You ascend at a steady pace, maintaining a careful balance between speed and caution. Sure, you need to hurry, but what good will that do if your hand fails at the worst possible moment? You focus on staying both quick and safe. The climbing equipment you found earlier makes your climbing somewhat easier. We're just gonna keep going at medium. Blah 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 blah, same thing again. We're just gonna keep going up. Okay. So that took a while, but we finally made it. Finally, you reach the top, where the necessary antenna components are located, allowing yourself just a couple of seconds to catch your breath. You take your screwdriver out of your pocket. Suddenly, your attention is drawn to the bright shine of the reflective element. It's part of the antenna. It once focused the signal in its desired direction. It's unlikely I'll need it, you think doubtfully. Shaking your head, you turn back to electronics that interest you more. Alright, you quickly unscrew the casting cover and toss it down without hesitation. There's no time to be careful. Fortunately, the tower has been powered down for a long time, so you immediately start dismantling it. Gripping the beam beneath you tightly with your legs, you dig into the machine's insides. Disconnecting and unscrewing the boards, the tower continues to groan unpleasantly and sway slightly in the wind, forcing you to work faster. After a few tense minutes, you finally place the last required component into your bag. Oh, now I have to get back down. Ah, great. The anxious thought crosses your mind as you slide the screwdriver back into your pocket. Suddenly, the tower lets out an especially loud creak as you realize with dread that, oh, great. Okay, well, we're falling. Judging by the fact that there's no more options, we're not gonna die. Thankfully. You grab the beam with your hands and watch as the tower snaps right in the middle. You feel yourself hurtling down in an arc, faster and faster. Closing your eyes, you instinctively press your body against the cold metal. Around you, there's the sound of cracking and scrapping, mixed with the whistling of wind in your ears. How stupidly this will all end. A brief and surprisingly calm thought flashes through your mind. Suddenly a loud crash echoes through the air. You're propelled upward, but by some miracle you manage to keep a grip on the beam. An awful screech erupts behind you. With shock, you realize your fall is beginning to slow. After a few tense seconds, you come to a stop. Complete silence descends. We're alive! Oh, you open your eyes and realize the beam you're holding on to is now hanging almost vertically. You shift your gaze and, to your surprise, see the ground only a few dozen centimeters below you. You let go of the beam and collapse heavily into the snow. For a few seconds, you lie there, breathing heavily and staring at a single point in front of you. Finally, you get up, brush the snow off yourself, and turn around. In front of you, you see that the falling top of the tower has crashed into the wall of a nearby building and sliced through it like a razor blade. It was the broken floors beneath the levels that slowed your fall. I had to get lucky for once, you say slowly employed. But now you're back on the ground, and that means you can return to the intersection. Let's go. We have found all the parts. Go to the antenna. You turn off the street and head into a narrow passage between two tall buildings. This route is well known to you. You've walked it many times before. For about 10 minutes, you weave through alleyways cluttered with trash and debris from crumbling structures. Finally, you emerge onto a large clearing. In front of you stands a small metal structure with a makeshift satellite dish on its roof. Your antenna. You started building it a few months ago, assembling the frame from scrap you found lying around. Then you installed all the necessary electronics inside and connected them to the antenna. You even secretly ran a power cable from your colony to supply it with electricity. Today, all that's left is to install the final missing parts. Suddenly, the crunch of snow behind you catches your attention. Someone's there. Yeah, that's what I expect. That is actively what I thought. That's who I thought it would be. Yeah. You turn around sharply and see two pink eyes in the darkness of the alley you just came from. Startled, you instinctively take a step back. And what are we doing here? Out of the shadow steps Katie, her arms crossed over her chest. A sly and satisfied smile plays on her face. What do you mean we? I should be asking what you're doing here, you say, shaking your head as you recover from the initial fright. I saw you sneaking through the colony's corridors towards the exit and got curious. Katie shrugs. At first I thought about calling out to you, but you look so focused, so I decided to follow you silently. I'll admit, I lost track of you at one of the crossroads, so I came straight here. Straight here? How do you know about this place? You ask in confusion. You're not the only one who likes to wander the surface sometimes. Art. A smile flashes across Katie's face. I noticed the structure a couple weeks ago and kept wondering who built it. And only today, during a presentation, did it all click. So, will you show me? Well, now it makes sense why she was interested. Alright, why not? It's just her on top of a no image. Nice. You step aside and make a welcoming gesture. Katie tilts her head with a playful smile, walking past you. You cross the clearing and approach your antenna. Slowly and carefully, you open the door, letting Katie go in first. You both enter and find yourselves in a small room illuminated by a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. The three remaining walls are lined with control panels in various states of disassembly. Unscrewed covers, removed screens, and other scattered components are everywhere. In the center of the room stands a small office chair. Please, you say, gesturing towards the chair. Just don't touch anything, please. You don't trust me that much? Katie's voice carries a poorly concealed hint of hurt. No, I trust you completely, you say in a conciliatory tone. I don't trust myself or my contraption. Half the parts here are held together by sheer will and will fall apart at the slightest touch. The other half might give you a shock. Oh, in that case, fine. Katie walks forward and sits proudly in the chair. She looks at you with curiosity, waiting for your next move. Like, no, I trust you. It's just the contraption will either fall apart or shock you the second you touch it. Alright, now we install the emitter parts. You approach one of the panels, lie down on the floor, and resultantly crawl under it up to your waist. An entire mass of electric cables and electrical circuits hang above you. You quickly check that all the previously installed components are intact and that the connecting cables are in place. Satisfied that everything is in order, you shift your gaze to the board where you were about to connect new components. You reach for your pocket and realize that you had already laid out the parts when you came inside. Katie, can I ask you a favor? Voice echoes sharply from within the device. Yeah, what's up? I laid out my parts when we came in. I need emitter parts. They look like you hesitate. You hesitate trying to find a good way to describe them. These? You hear Katie's voice right next to you. You turn your head and see Katie peeking at you, reaching out with the necessary components. Yes, that's exactly what I need. Thanks. You take the parts and begin connecting them to the existing system. In 5 minutes, your work is done. It looks rough and haphazard, but it should work. At least I hope so. You crawl out from under the panel, stand up, and brush the dust off yourself. Alright, now we install the receiver. You carefully take the receiver components and head to another panel. You remove the previously unscrewed cover and peek inside. What are these parts? Katie approaches closer and curiously looks over your shoulder. These are parts of the receiver. You suddenly feel a hint of embarrassment. It'll be responsible for receiving signals. At least I hope so. And I have no doubt about it, Katie says with an encouraging tone. You extend your hand into the device and begin installing the hard-earned components. As you work, a barely noticeable smile flickers across your face. A couple of minutes later, the installation is done. Now we get to the last part, installing the antenna parts. You take the last pieces of equipment and open the front door. Diffused light from outside fills the room. This needs to be installed on the roof, you say to Katie. She immediately gets up from the chair, ready to help. You step outside and start climbing the wall to the roof of your structure. You didn't plan for any ladders or ledges, but the walls of the antenna are so uneven, with various parts sticking out. The climbing doesn't pose much of a challenge for you. Are you sure this is safe? Katie's worried voice reaches you from below. My robotic skills aren't good enough to piece you back together if you fall. You carefully lean over the edge and glance at Katie. Only 3 or 4 meters separate you. A recent memory flashes before your eyes. The collapse of a tower and you fall along with it. A slight hysterical chuckle escapes your lips. Launch the antenna. Now all that's left is to turn it on. You try to sound optimistic to hide your inner anxiety. Ah, great. Everything will be fine, I'm sure. Katie reassures you, noticing your nervousness. You step back inside, kneel before a small box on the floor near the entrance, and open it. A power cable runs into it from outside. Inside, there's a set of switches controlling the power supply to all the systems of the antenna. In theory, flipping them should bring the entire system to life. You reach out with a slightly trembling hand and start flicking the switches. The monitors on the panels light up, and the room fills with the hum of fans. You brace yourself, half expecting sparks to fly out of nowhere and the whole system to short circuit and shut down. But that doesn't happen. Finally, you flip the last switch and rise to your feet with a sigh of relief. Turning around, you marvel at the work of the antenna, amazed by your creation. It's all running. Now I just need to make sure the antenna is actually working. You say uncertainly, still struggling to believe it. I can already see some kind of signal, Katie's voice reaches you. Don't joke about that. I get that you're trying to cheer me up, but this is really serious. This is really serious and important to me. You reply slightly irritated. I'm not joking. I don't know who that is. Tayoma? Katie turns to you, her face completely serious. See for yourself. Oh, great. So it's already working. Your eyes widen in surprise. You walk over to Katie and the monitor next to her. The screen displays a simple program interface. The terminal shows the same sequence of zeros and ones appearing at regular intervals. This can't be. You shake your head and place a hand on your forehead. It's probably some kind of error or cosmic noise. Can you decode this signal? Katie gives you a serious look, folding her arms across her chest. I'll try. You approach another panel and start decoding the program. If the signal belongs to JC Jensen, the binary code should turn into something meaningful. Holding your breath, you watch the progress bar slowly fill on the screen. Finally, it reaches completion. You glance down at the result, unsure of what to expect. It's not a message, you say quietly. Green letters from the monitor reflect on your visor. Not a message? Katie asks with disappointment in her voice behind you. I'm so sorry. So is it really just cosmic noise? Oh no. Oh no. Okay, guess Murder Drones is about to start. It's a spacecraft transponder. It's somewhere near the planet. You turn around and look at Katie. She looks back at you, her face filled with shock. The two of you stand there for several seconds, processing what just happened. I think that's the murder drone ship. This game might last a bit longer, and I might die. I have a slight feeling this is... you burst outside, breathing heavily with excitement. While you were launching the antennas, the snowfall had already stopped and the sky had begun to clear. Katie follows right behind you. You look up at the dark sky of Copper 9, illuminated by the bright light of the satellite and dotted with thousands of stars. You're not even sure you're looking in the right direction. You still need to pinpoint the signal source. But the mere fact that its origin is out there somewhere in the sky, millions of kilometers away, boggles your imagination. Katie stands next to you, gazing at your face for a few seconds before turning her attention to the sky. In your mind's eye, a dazzling image unfolds. The endless darkness of space and a tiny metallic box of a spaceship racing toward the planet. Who is inside it? What will they say to the surviving worker drones? What will they do to you? Your voice shatters in the silence. They're coming. Yeah, the murder drones are here now. That's great. Oh, is that the end of the game? Okay, prologue is over. That was insane. That was insane. That was a lot better than I expected. And trust me, I expected this to be good. Oh, wow. Well, thank you to everyone who made this. And I am excited for whatever comes after this because, oh wow, that was good. Okay. So, that was Murder Drones, the First Encounter prologue. So seems we ended as the murder drones were coming. That makes me really excited for what's gonna happen next. Oh boy. Anyways, thank you guys for watching today's stream. And I will see you next week with another stream. Bye-bye.